Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Today is July the 4th, 2022. Today, we as Americans celebrate our independence, dating back to 1776. Independence from a tyrant, a king of the British Empire at the time. But there's more to talk about this July the 4th, this Independence Day. If we look back at the annals of history and at what went on during that time, we can see a lot of similarities to contemporary time as well. Many people could make a very cogent argument that what we are living through today in terms of an overburdensome government is pretty similar to what happened back then. There are some differences. They say that history may not completely repeat itself, but oftentimes it does rhyme. And gold can play a role here, especially with what we are seeing today, high inflation. And there's ways that we can declare independence, and we can secure ourselves with the freedom that gold can provide. And that is what I want to talk about here. But there's more to do it than just gold. There's more to it than just the financial aspect and to be able to secure sound money as opposed to money that is not very sound. This is the Federal Reserve note. Federal Reserve, two words that really fly in the face, I feel, with what the founders had set in place. Now, obviously, some of the founders, and there was an argument back then about a stronger centralized government. But what the founders came up with after the independence and after winning the war for independence was a perfect example and a perfect combination of a government that would just be strong enough to create a cohesive government of 13 independent colonies becoming states, recognizing the federal government's role in keeping them together and finding that you can have a central power that could just hold enough to keep the states together to provide a service, not necessarily to govern or rule. And that is the difference that we see these days with what the central government is doing. I always tell folks that in reality we should be paying more in taxes to the states than to the federal government. But with our money and our monetary systems that we have here today, and it is a plural, it is several systems that seems to be in place, and it's all more centralized, and we have this inflation that's happening, which is nothing new. We've seen it before in different times. In fact, the first inflationary period was during the Revolutionary period, when they have these scripts and these notes, and the founders realized this is not a good system. This is why gold and silver were put into the Constitution. And that document in 1787, September 17th to be specific, that set forth and in the document that gold and silver indeed are money to be utilized between the states. Now we have this Federal Reserve System, and we have what's known as unsound money. Because this note here, this dollar that you see before you here, has lost at 8.6% since last year at this time. Gold, though, is holding its own. It's fallen too in price, but in reality, gold should be thought about in terms of being the foundation for money, because it has been money for a lot longer than the Federal Reserve notes have, or any other kind of paper monetary system. Gold has outlasted and outshined, and in fact, this coin that you see before you here is, I think, a perfect example of freedom, not only in the symbology represented on it, but also in the ideas behind it from which this nation was founded. Gold, to me, it represents freedom in more ways than one. Gold shines on, and will continue to do that. I'm going to be reading from the Declaration, the document, and I want you to soak in these words because I think they hold meaning that holds true to this day. And think about us here in contemporary times. And if you're from other nations around the world, such as Canada, Great Britain, or Australia, or Germany, or anywhere else, think of these words. Think of your own situations in your own countries. Where do we sit today in our respective nations? How important is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to you? The document goes on to say, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator, with a capital C, that is God, for those of you who are wondering, with certain unalienable rights, inborn rights within us, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light or transient causes. Accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, advances to design and reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government, and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity that constrains them to alter their former systems of government. Think about that, folks. And there's several different keys here that I think can play out today. And you notice that in this phrasing here, that there are options here. And I believe we have options that would not necessarily take us to declare our independence as a nation again, or to break off, but indeed areas to alter. And how do you alter in this kind of case here, as an option here, to alter or to abolish it? Not necessarily to abolish our form of government now, but we can alter it. And we can alter it at the ballot box. And that's what I am encouraging all Americans to do that are listening to my voice, at the ballot box, to change things. Things do need to be changed for sure, dramatically, in government today. They have certainly gone far and beyond what the intentions were of the founders. And so, one way to do it is for our security. The guards are future security. One way we can do this independently and individually is to protect our fiscal house and to keep it in order. Having dollars and holding dollars is certainly one way outside of the banking system, and I encourage that, but also to have gold as well. Gold as the ultimate form to protect your wealth. Even silver stackers should consider gold, because silver these days is not doing too well compared to gold as it has in the past. I'm not against silver, but I do believe in holding gold as the ultimate form of wealth preservation in these times. And I believe that having gold, even historic gold like this, is one way to appreciate the beauty not only in the design, but what it represents. What you are looking at here is a St. Gaudens coin that was minted for circulation early on in the Renaissance of coin design. It was designed by Augustus Saint Gaudens under the order of Theodore Roosevelt, who ironically was a big government progressive and ironically also a Republican. But nonetheless, the ideals of liberty and freedom shine in this coin. It is considered one of the most beautiful designs ever created in coinage ever in history. It is beautiful indeed. And you can see there Lady Liberty standing there, looking towards and with bold and with grace. And this Lady Liberty is indeed a lady of mixed racial background, which says that the liberty transcends race and transcends identity politics by any stretch. And you can see her here holding the torch as I pulled this coin up here, holding the torch in one hand and the olive branch in another hand. This is a superb example that I just recently acquired from a local coin shop when I had the choice to buy this coin or a modern American Eagle coin. This coin cost me a bit more, but not a whole lot more over premium. I would choose this coin any day over an Eagle, to answer a comment from one of my recent videos, and also acquired near a time where another member of the community also bought one of these coins. A beautiful design indeed. So that is the obverse. The reverse here has the eagle soaring. You'll notice that this eagle is soaring, flying through the air freely, facing symbolically to the west, where at the time in 1907 when this coin was designed, the United States, the continental United States, had not been completely formed yet. Arizona, New Mexico were not states even in 1910 when this coin was minted. You can see the motto here, which was added later in 1908. It says, "In God we trust," and $20 was a denomination. Gold has held its values. In 1910, $20 could probably buy you a very nice suit. In 2022, you could sell this gold coin and with the proceeds buy a very nice suit. Gold, historically, throughout time, has held its value. That's what it's about. That is freedom, folks. On the edge, you can see that they spared no expense to give the motto of the United States, E Pluribus Unum, which stands for out of many one. Gold is a beautiful metal, and it is beautifully designed, and you'll notice that on the obverse and reverse, you will see the rays of the sun shining bright there, which inspires hope. And we need hope in America today, for sure. And hope is there. And individually, you can get hope by declaring your independence from the financial system by accumulating gold. But there's also hope in God, because we are endowed by our Creator. And it is innate that we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, thankfully preserved, at least by some states in the United States, even to the point of conception in some states. And it is certainly valuable to honor and to preserve life in all stages. So therefore, it is incumbent upon us to recognize these liberties and to recognize and to hold on to our history. And so I hope you found this video insightful and inspirational. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all and wish you all a very happy Independence Day, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.